You were always the explorer in relationships. So it's no wonder that now you give a lot of advice to a lot of women around this. So can you take us through your journey in discovering relationships and the relationship that you have now? Because I love Pete.
Oh, sure. So explore, that's a funny word because I was an explorer. But I mean, basically, I wasn't good at romantic relationships or any relationships since I was born, okay? I didn't have any, I would say, good role models in my life in terms of intimate relationships. My parents are immigrants and traditional in some ways. I wouldn't say they're divorced, but even when they were married, I wouldn't say like, I want a marriage like that. I wasn't encouraged to, self-express. What are you feeling? None of that matters. My mom still asks, like, why are you in therapy?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Bua just asked me that the other day. And our aunts' moms, our elders are very similar. Because yes, Bua had also told me, we don't need therapy. Why are you wasting your money on it?
I had a journey of, diving deep and healing my childhood stuff because it all stems from that. So basically, like career stuff was always easy for me. Hobbies, I traveled the world. Like, so easy. But I'm like, why is this one sliver of my life, which was the romantic aspect, so difficult? And I was like, why am I making this difficult? It's not that it's actually difficult. And so I had to dive into healing childhood stuff.
What were
A lot of
some
new
of the things that came up during the healing of the childhood stuff? Because when people generally think of, I have to heal my relationships, it's usually they think, oh, I'm attracting that like asshole, or I only get the ones that cheat on me, or, it's like that one specific trait. But you went all in. You were like, let's heal the stuff from our parents. So can you just speak to that?
Yeah, because a lot of us subconsciously, you might be aware, but unaware at that time, that we just go towards what feels familiar. And so what felt familiar to me was choosing emotionally unavailable men. And I did that for long enough until you decide, you might know this, but you decide when you're done with your, those specific patterns. You get sick of your own shit. But some of the stories I had from childhood, and I map these out in my book, but simple things like, I'm not important, I'm not good enough. And those pain points, although like a big chunk of it's healed, I think a little part always stays with us because if Pete's my husband, if I ever get upset about something, it usually stems back to like, oh, I didn't feel important or I felt abandoned, something like that. And an example of like being abandoned was being picked up from school. My parents were always late. They were working their asses off,
Yeah.
right, to like give us a better life. I'm so grateful for that. But it would be me and the other only Asian girl in the school who probably had practical parents as well, just sitting there until sometimes it would start to get dark when daylight savings switch, And I'm like, did they forget about us? And sometimes they did forget, or they would send an employee to get us, which is so impersonal.
Oh my God.
And, so that had a big impact on me. And so, I started to dive more into the little girl in me. And I had some blind spots too with my dad, which I had no idea. Mom was obvious.
Okay, care to share?
Yeah, sure. So my mom is like a businesswoman, dragon lady, like so successful, but she wasn't the nurturing.
Tiger mom, right?
Tiger mom. Yes.
Yeah.
The tiger of tiger moms. And dad was always really patient. I'm like a daddy's girl. I always gravitated towards him. So I didn't think I had stuff with him. And what came up was I didn't realize that when my parents got divorced, because my dad did some things that were out of integrity. And I kind of like brushed it off like, okay, people make mistakes. They got divorced. Like, I know dad loves me. After they divorced, I chose to live with him because it was just always easy with us. But I didn't realize that the divorce upset me until I started going to therapy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because
Oh, wow.
I said it a million times, like, oh, my parents are divorced. Matter of fact,
Right. It's no, there's no trigger, no charge, no nothing. It was just,
it is what it is.
it's the facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with me, I realize there's usually a delayed reaction. I don't realize what's actually bothering me until sometimes it's years down the road.
Oh, wow.
And so
This is like great insight.
oh, thank you. So yeah, so I realized with my dad, I'm like, you know what? I was upset about the divorce, and I was upset that he never acknowledged and took responsibility and just said like, I'm sorry.
See you next time at the Brave Table.